What is up, YouTube? Sciz1 here. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, but that is what we are doing today. You know what's going on from the title. Basically, though, for anyone who doesn't know, we're just going to be working on a sort of a simple letter style. So I call them like letter studies, where basically you just take one letter and you just sort of work with it. So today I'm working with the letter S. This is very much a thing where you can try, experiment, and try and get out of your comfort zone a little bit and sort of figure out some stuff. Hopefully that works. You'll find there's a lot of stuff that you try that doesn't work. That's going to happen with any experiment, but basically that's what letter studies are all about. So yeah. But I'm going to show you a couple things I've been working on sort of recently. You've probably seen them on Instagram, if you follow my Instagram at all. Yeah, so again, some of this stuff's very experimental, others not. This is very simple letter style. Here's something that's experimental and terrible. I was sort of trying to emphasize some depth and overlapping, that sort of stuff. It's worth a try. You trying new stuff is a great way to sort of develop more of your own styles, per se. That sort of thing. That's another thing. Unfortunately, the 3D looked a lot better before I sort of put these dots here, so I sort of gave up and just stopped with that by the end and didn't really finish that off. But basically, I figured I'd do sort of a real-time drawing, hopefully finish up or get close to finishing up this letter S here. Yeah, so I'm expecting we're gonna have a pretty quiet stream today here. What's up, Karka? What's going on? Just because usually when I don't stream for a little while, it ends up being a sort of quieter stream. But quiet streams are always totally fine in terms of my real-time stuff, because I can sort of just work and put a bit of commentary over my thought process. A lot of people have asked me in the past to sort of describe my process a little bit or verbalize it. So I can try and do that a little bit with this. I know I've done that a bit with some of my other live streams in the past as well. Don't know why this music is 50 decibels louder than the other song. Anyway. Yeah, so again, being that this is purely just in my sketchbook as sort of a experimental letter study, you could call it, I'm trying sort of a complex type thing here. Just sort of working with the letter S. Basically, even if I'm not happy with how things look in these experimental type pieces that I'm trying just to sketch out, I still try and continue them and do them to completion. Purely because, you know, that's the nature of experiments, essentially. And that's how you're going to improve, figuring out stuff that works, figuring out stuff that doesn't work. Smith, what's going on? Reef, what's up? What's up? Yeah, Reef, it's a Ref. I recall your name is Ref. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've streamed as well, obviously, so I feel you. If you have a busy schedule, I definitely feel you. Karka, that's a good question. Sometimes before drawing a piece, I will know like the general shape I want the piece to be. In terms of individual letters, usually I just sort of go with it and see where it takes me. That's one of the reasons, though, I like to experiment with different styles, sort of like I am now, because, like, for example, with the letter S, I almost always start with this middle bar right here. I almost always draw that first, and then I draw this upper bit, and then the lower bit. So, like, you become very, it becomes sort of a habit how you form your letters. So doing, like, sort of letter studies like these can sort of, I'm gonna say it again, bring you out of your comfort zone so that you can develop new ways to form letters, and therefore new ways to make new letters, sort of. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of shape, sometimes I know, but in terms of, like, the specifics, it's just sort of, I sort of just go with it. And a lot of times, that sort of leads you back to some of, like, the ways which you already know how to make letters, which is fine. That's why you develop, like, a specific style, so you can sort of use it over and over again. That's hence why it's your style. But sometimes it's also good to experiment a little bit. Thank you, Smith. I am absolutely glad to be on here again. I know it's been far too long. I've been super busy, obviously. Yeah, that being said, though, I have a video that I'm gonna upload in the next couple days. It's ready to go out. Since it's the holidays, I have a little bit more time, so I'm gonna try and get a few of these streams done with you guys. Super excited to be able to be somewhere again that has good internet that I can stream on. Who teased, if that's how you pronounce your name. Hello from Finland. Hello. Good to see you. Yeah. So I'm doing the smallest or thinnest lines in this outline first. As per usual, probably going to keep this one black and white. If anyone doesn't know why, or if anyone doesn't know, just about every piece in this book I have is black and white. And I do that because it helps me sort of focus on what the letters look like a little more. There's no distracting colors, and then you can really focus on, you know, just the shape, the actual letter structure, because letter structure is the most important, the most fundamental thing, of course, when you're doing any kind of graffiti style. In terms of my choice of doing lines thinnest first to thickest, that's just personal preference. Some people do it the opposite. And of course, I'm only speaking about how I do lines sort of in a sketchbook, because it's very different for when you're working with cans, obviously, on a wall. But again, on a wall, it would be also sort of personal preference at that point. No, Smith, I have not heard anything about UFO. Yeah, Karka, that'd be awesome if we could do, like, some kind of collab like that. Yeah, Karka, sorry I took so long to judge the entries for the Graftember contest you were hosting. I was right in the middle of exams, so I saw your message when the first time you sent it and sort of made a mental note. I'm like, okay, I will do that. So then, when pretty much as soon as I was done my exams, I did that. But yeah, that's why it took a little longer. Sorry. Yeah, so this part of the outline is definitely always the slowest. Feels like you're not really making progress when you're just outlining all the very thinnest parts of your piece. But it's definitely no less important than any other part of the outline. Name is Psych. That's an awesome name to write. Yeah, Karka, if you ever need me to, you know, help out in any way again for that sort of thing, I'm totally down. It was awesome to see so many different entries. You got a lot of participation for that. Which is always, I was super jealous of, because whenever I try and do, like, battles or anything, sometimes it's super hard to get a huge amount of participation, and you got, like, 138 entries or something like that, 130. So good on you for that. So I'm doing the lines that are in the 0.3 millimeter now, so a little bit bigger. I might thicken those up a little bit as well. Once I figure out what I'm doing. Yeah, so I work in this book, I work in 3 thicknesses. For the first lines, like this one, that one, I was using a 0.1 millimeter marker, pilot pen, whatever you want to call it. So it's got a 0.1 millimeter tip. Now I'm using the 0.3 millimeter tip, so just a little bit wider, really, to develop a little bit of the piece further. Generally, I'm using the thicker lines where I want the piece to look, where I want parts of the letter to be emphasized, I guess, is the best way to describe it. And of course, sometimes I'll go over some of the lines twice, make them a little thicker as well. I would like to get like a 1 millimeter, 1.2 millimeter, something along those lines. No pun intended. just for like really thick outer lines. But see, like right now with this particular line, since it's connected to this main part of the S, I'm making it a thick one because I want that part of the S to stand out. I'd like it to stand out a little more than some of these other tails and that sort of thing, because again, it's a main part of the S. It's an important part for the viewer to have their attention drawn to for this to make any sense. That's the thing, when you make really complicated stuff like this, if it's sort of poorly executed, and by that I mean if you don't pay attention to your line thickness and that sort of thing, then it's sort of just going to look like a mess. And that's when you start, like, for me, I always say the difference between a good writer and sort of an amateur writer is how well they execute their pieces. Like, it's great to know the concepts of how to make a piece and whatever, but the execution is really how you can tell how experienced a writer is a lot of times. Yeah, it's that's the thing with a lot of the markers you can buy. The main expense is sort of the paint that goes in them. Like, you gotta buy refills, right? And refills are super expensive. So in terms of actual markers, I've always said that grog ones are super good quality, the actual marker. But I rarely buy grog refills, only because they're expensive. So you can buy like markers that are sort of nice. I would recommend buying markers that are nice and refills that are cheap. To put it simply. But yeah, I really like, in general, grog markers. I've found them to be super reliable, super good quality. In terms of paint and refills, I find grog is a good-ish price, so I tend to go with them sometimes. OTR sometimes as well. I'm not really super brand loyal when it comes to the paints. I try and avoid at all costs buying Crink just because it's so expensive. And that is fine if people want to pay that much for it. But like when I've used Crink in the past, it's been good quality. It's just for twice the price, I expect it to be twice as good, and it's never really twice as good as anything else I'm using, so sort of have to think of that sort of thing. Depends on your budget too, obviously. For me, I'm always looking to save money, as are most writers, I would think. At least most writers who are like pretty active, I would say. Because obviously the more active you are, the more you're gonna need to look for good deals and that sort of thing. So I'm gonna go over this line again, make it a little thicker. Just once again, because it's a main part of the S here. It's hard to thicken lines. Ooh, shit, I smudged that. It's hard to thicken lines and make them look super clean when you're working with smaller pens like these. So the cleanliness suffers a little bit by my lack of sizes that I have to work with here, but I mean, that's why I gotta get better at working with them. Can't blame it on the markers. Yeah, Smith, I try and post as much as I can on Instagram. I just recently have not really had a ton of stuff to post. But yes, I definitely am gonna try and post more. And I mean, it's to my benefit to post more too, because like if you post more, Instagram sort of recommends your stuff more, and then obviously I get some new faces showing up a little bit more if I post more. But yeah, I just need to make sure I have stuff to post, keep myself busy. I don't know, it's sort of demotivating sometimes being on Instagram, because like it seems like now I've sort of posted consistently, or like semi-consistently, not so much recently, but consistently-ish for the past maybe year and a half-ish. Wow, that's an exaggeration, probably a year. And like I've seen 0 increase in my follower numbers and that sort of thing, so it seems like a sort of pointless procedure sometimes, but yeah, obviously I'm not just after new followers and faces. I'm like the main reason I do YouTube, Instagram, and everything is just because I love the interaction with all of you guys and like other artists, and that sort of thing. So yeah, I will try and post more. What time are we at right now? Only 22 minutes. I apologize for how dark this is. Let me just turn a light on here. There. That'll help you guys see a little bit better. We're getting there. Gonna add some 3D at some point too. Who teased, you're, as far as I can tell, you're asking, like, how to get, like, ideas for pieces. That is always the hardest part, for me, too. I don't know, like, in one way, I like to say, like, whenever I go and look at, like, other people's graffiti and other people posting stuff, it immediately, like, reminds me, like, how much I like graph in general, and then I want to go paint and draw and whatever. But I try and not look at other people's stuff because I don't want to have my style, like, subconsciously be thinking of their style and sort of bite it at all. So, like, my like, to get ideas, personally, mainly for me, it's just, mostly just doing experiments like this, really. Just trying things out, getting new styles, and you'll sort of find that you develop some styles that you like and sort of end up sticking with, and that's how you develop, like, your own personal style, I would say. But I know what you mean. It's super hard to get ideas, and I know I'm giving a not very helpful answer. But yeah, that really is the hardest part. Like, just to get inspired, you have to sort of expose yourself to stuff, take influence from what you think is appropriate to take influence from. Karka, your question, are you still sponsored by Bombing Science? I think that's what you're asking. Not really at the moment. They sort of, like, what they were doing before was sending me supplies to review, sort of for free, and they told me they don't really want to do that anymore. I don't know if that's because I was sort of not really posting at one point for like consistently enough for them to want to work with me. Like what they told me was, yeah, we're not really doing the review program anymore. Whether that's true or whether that is just because I hadn't really been posting and they didn't want to work with me is is the mystery. But yeah, I mean, I think if I still asked and said, like, hey, I'm doing another battle, would you guys mind, like, pitching in for the prize? They'd probably still say yes, like, I did that a couple times, and that was they provide some gift cards and whatnot for prizes. Alright. Let me catch up on the chat here a little bit. Do I do model pastel graph? I have never heard of that, Karka. So no, I do not. Alright. Starting to feel not too bad about this. Outline's almost done, obviously. Just trying to get some of the last lines done here. Make them as clean as possible. Part of being clean is making the letters straight where they're supposed to be straight, obviously. Which is sometimes the hardest part. Boom. Not too bad there. A little bit, getting some consistency going today. I find some days I can just put down some super clean lines, then other days it's just a huge struggle. So I'm glad I'm having a better day today in terms of that. Just a few lines left here. I want to emphasize this line a little bit, just because it's like a more main line, of course. Yikes. Just gonna leave that be. From Indonesia, that is way on the other side of the world for me. That's awesome. Just putting the last couple lines on this, then we're gonna thicken it a little bit in certain spots, and also then hopefully add some 3D if we have time. Of course, whenever I do these streams, if I don't finish the piece by the end of the stream, when the hour is up that I have to stream, I'll always post the finished product on Instagram too. So, yeah, if you want to see the finished products, follow my Instagram. Like Smith said, though, I need to post more on my Instagram. That's not bad. So now that I have all these lines inked up, I'm just going to erase the residual sort of pencil that you can see. Can't have a clean piece if you have random pencil lines showing through. And it really makes a massive difference actually in how clean the piece looks anyway. So we're just cleaning all the eraser crumbs, obviously. I cannot work if there are eraser crumbs like anywhere on the piece. It just pisses me off too much. Alley Cat, what's up? Oh, hell yeah, this hoodie? Oh, you have no idea. This hoodie is wild. Got this from a company called From NY. There's actually only 20 of these hoodies in the world that got made. And I own one. Yes, Karka, exactly. This is my... See, I have... I hate to shout them out at all, but I use Epidemic Sound to... Like, I have a license to use whatever music is in their sound library. And it just pisses me off. Like, every month I gotta pay them, right? Like, $15 or something stupid. Just to use their songs. And, so I see that come out of my account, and then I get pissed off, so I'm like, well, I gotta fucking use this music. So I try and use it whenever the hell I can. Hence, streaming music. And I mean, Obviously, they don't have any, like, super great tunes or anything. But it's better than, like, silence in the background of the streams, so, you know. So right now I'm just thickening up some of these lines. Really trying to emphasize specific parts of the piece while keeping it clean. I find the hardest bit is like emphasizing lines but also keeping them looking clean. That is difficult for me. Obviously, the emphasis of these lines isn't the most exciting part of the process to watch, so I'm trying to do it a little bit quicker. Oh, yes, Karka. Actually, I was going to mention that in the stream. You're just reminding me of all the things I need to talk about today. Yeah, at some point I will show, like, I will make an actual video where I show everything in this book. As you can see, it's almost full, but, like, it's a pretty damn thick book, so I might have to split it into 2 parts. But yeah, this is, like, the first time I've actually, like, gotten through a book, like, and drawn everything sort of in one place for a little while. So, yeah, at some point I will actually make a video and show everyone what is in this book. That's also sort of why I've been, like, only showing bits and pieces of it in the streams, because I want to actually save some of it for the video. So, of course, if you've been in my streams, you'll have seen a lot more of it than a lot of other people. Alright. What other lines do I need to pay attention to here? Trying to make sure some of these come to a nice crisp point as well. Thanks, Josh. I like the sound of that, whether it's a compliment or not. I'm not going to do anything super crazy with the 3D on it. Again, don't really want to distract from the actual letter structure too much. That's why I keep most of the stuff in here simple, in terms of lines and color. As I was explaining earlier, why I don't really do too much color stuff in here. Oh, that was my 1mm. I was working with a 1mm the whole time. I thought that was my 3, or a .3, whatever. There we go. Heh. Finding... I wanted to make this more of like a complete round thing, but I don't think I can at this point. Oh well. I'm really taking my time making this stuff thicker now, just because with a letter that has so many extra tails and stuff like this, it either works because you made it proportionally right, or it doesn't because you didn't. So this is really, it's like not the funnest part for me or for you guys to watch, probably, in general, but it's probably one of the most important parts if you're gonna do like some more complex stuff like this. Alright, Karka, we will see you again in the stream, hopefully. But, yeah, you have a good day. It's probably getting late where you are, actually. Ooh, mops versus markers, Smith asks. Man. It depends on what you're doing, obviously, I guess. Personally, so I'm just starting the 3D here right now, so I'm putting a little 3D dot down. Personally, I like mops, but I feel like I get hung up on the fact that mops can only write on so many surfaces, like smooth surfaces. Whereas like some of the other things like metalheads and all that are super reliable and they can write on anything. So it's hard. It's a hard question. I don't know, what do you guys think? Mops or markers? Yeah, Josh, very good point. Depends on your style as well and like what you gravitate towards. Like if you really like the chiseled looking sharp styles, then probably markers or chisel tips or that sort of thing are gonna be your preference. So in case anyone couldn't tell, the 3D I'm doing is pretty much all going directly to this point. Just going to keep it nice and uniform in the middle of the page. Nothing super complicated. You can do 3D well without making it super complicated, and that's what we're trying to do here. Doesn't need to be anything crazy to just help the piece out and make it look complete, finished. And clean. Yeah, Josh, I was just gonna do the letter S here. I mean, yeah, I don't know, in the future maybe I'll think about it. Like, sometimes I'll look back at some of my work and say, oh, that's an interesting style, I wonder what I was thinking when I tried to do that. And I'll want to try using it in a more official capacity, like for a piece or something like that, but for this I'm just doing the letter S. Probably gonna leave the 3D pretty hollow once I marker it all in. Don't wanna do any complicated fills for this or anything. So again, everything going right towards this dot here. I find that helps heaps for me when I'm just trying to make clean 3D. Just make it look proportional. I find it especially helpful when I'm working on spots like this where you're gonna end up with like a sort of super weird shape, which might be hard to sort of visualize without knowing that these lines are in the right place. So just having that dot there really helps me out, is what I'm trying to say. So I got like 10 minutes left in the stream before YouTube tells me I can't anymore because it's too long. So I'm just gonna, you know, finish up penciling in the 3D. I'll start the lines of it, and you guys will see the finished product on my Instagram if you follow me there. Probably in the next couple days. Right. I think that's pretty much... I know at some point I'll find a line in here that I've missed for the 3D, but I can come back and fix that. In the meantime, I'm gonna just throw in the lines, make it official here. Josh, I'm in Canada, actually. Yeah, in Ontario. So I'm in the same time zone as a lot of people who are in the US. Also, if you're anywhere in Europe, which I know a ton of the viewers are here, just alone in this stream, I've heard Finland and, well, I guess that's the only European country in this stream I've heard today, but I know a lot of German viewers a lot of the time, Slovakia, Switzerland, obviously, all that. But if you're anywhere in Europe, you're probably 6 hours ahead of my time zone. Oh, really? You're in Ontario? Oh, geez. That's awesome. Yeah, I sort of bounce around a little bit. Like, I go to school in... You'll probably know where St. Catharines is. And I'm often enough in Ottawa for other reasons. But I'm in southwestern Ontario. Some of the time, too. Denmark, yes, Smith, that's where you are. I knew you were somewhere overseas, Smith. I couldn't remember where. Yeah, that's, I mean, originally when I started streaming, I would be like, okay, what time is it here? Is it like an evening where people are sort of available to watch? But now I know, like, so many of you guys are like overseas that whenever I've done, like, for me it's dead afternoon, it's like almost 1 o'clock. But for me, even though it's 1 o'clock, like, I know it's evening over in Europe, so I always get a good turnout no matter what. Oh, nice. It's so nice to know exactly, like, people can identify their countries to me, and I'll generally know where things are, but it means a little more when when it's like a place that you're familiar with. Yeah, I feel like I've been in Peterborough probably passing through on a just on a train. Yeah. If there might be a train station there. I could be totally thinking of the wrong place, but yeah, that's one of the reasons I like being like when I am at school in St. Catharines, there's a hell of a lot more like good graph around that area than there is like where I live when I'm not at school. And it's like right outside the place I live, up there in St. Catharines, there's like a huge cobble piece. He's a guy, I believe he's from Toronto. A lot of people in the area would know who he is, but there's like a huge cobble piece facing the highway, and it's like right behind the place I live. And he's got like tags near the like all the bus stops on that same street that I live on. Yeah, there's like, I see globe throw-ups near my area up there too. Like, it's just a super awesome scene up there, which I miss when I'm not there. It's one of the few things I miss about that city, to be honest. But like anytime you get like sorta near Toronto, there's just like tons of awesome stuff to see. Yeah, Josh, I may have. You're right. Alright. Just making sure I'm not missing any lines here. Put sort of a weak line in here. I don't want to completely separate. Oh shit, that's not right. That is wrong. That shouldn't be there. I don't have my white out. Ah. That shouldn't be there, everyone, because this is part of this. God damn it. It's fine, it's fine. I'll fix it later. Yeah, I was told once by one of my formal art teachers that a piece is done when you feel that you have nothing else to add to it. I sort of took that to heart. A lot of my pieces, that's sort of how I judge that now, and I'm getting to that point with this. I'll probably go around and thicken the lines up a little bit more off cam. Just throwing these on. I got 4 minutes left here. Working to beat the clock. Yeah, he spells his name, I'm probably saying it wrong. He probably says it Cable. That's how he spells his name. Oh, you've painted with Globe? That is dope. That is awesome. Yeah, Cable, Cobble. I don't know how he says his name. Yeah, I saw globe stuff in Toronto a little bit when I was there. Yeah, I was probably saying it very wrong. Yeah, it's awesome when I'm up there though, because you just like it's so cool, and for me to be able to see, like, the area I grew up in doesn't have a graph scene really, so for me to be able to go and actually see a lot of graph that I've seen on YouTube and that sort of thing, that's like just awesome for me. Like, seeing any good graph in real life is just super dope for me. Yeah, oh my god, yeah, and part of that is because graph writers just seem to have absolutely no concept of how things are supposed to be said, probably, but yeah. Trying to be very sparing with these last lines. Don't wanna overdo any of them. What the fuck is playing on my computer? Jesus Christ. Oops. Nice. Oh, I still have this whole upper bit to do. I know I've gone pretty much silent here. I'm really just trying to get like a finished product done here for you guys. It's always sort of anticlimactic when my streams finish and I'm like so far from done something, but we did okay today. I'm pretty much done this. Yeah, gonna call it quits. Yeah. I'll probably add like a little background, throw it on, throw something simple in the background, finish it off. But yeah, look for the finished one on YouTube, or my Instagram, basically. Also, in the next couple days, definitely, I have a video finished, edited. I just did the thumbnail for it today. And I'll be posting that in the next couple days. It's a video for, it's just some tips to help, because I get asked all the time, like, what's a good way to improve wild style, get good at wild style, that sort of thing. So it's some sort of tips with that. Like, they're very general because there's no like cookie cutter way to teach wild style. Obviously, that's why it is wild style. But yeah, so that'll be coming in the next couple days for you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you, Smith. See you, Josh. Thanks for chilling, Karka. I'm sure you're not here anymore. But yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out, talking graph with me. That's why I love our streams. Look for some more streams over December and January. And till my next one, peace.